Yoga, let's go. Yes, let's stretch it out. It's just an hour today, so you're gonna spend an hour doing other things. You can spend an hour stretching it out, calming yourself down, and spending some time for you. So, oh my gosh, yes, I love the dog's appearance. Yes. So we're gonna start by just coming to a calm state, becoming fully present, so tuning into the body and breath. And then we'll just begin with some movement, breath matching, and then we'll go from there. So just come to a comfortable seat, and we're just going to get our spine nice and tall here, shoulder blades down the back. And we're just going to take a few deep breaths just to tune in and to begin. So go ahead and take one more full deep breath here at your own pace. So we're going to begin by making some C with our spine. And so we're going to lean to the right, and you'll notice here that your sides make two C's. So this one on the right side is a smaller C, and the one on the left side is a bigger C. I want you to think about both of them. So a lot of people tend to only think about the big C, but it's also important to think about squeezing in tight here and making the small C. So we're just going to move from side to side, just warming up the side body. So you can take the hands out to the side for some balance if you need. And just really warming up the side, opening up here, releasing any tension that you've been holding on to, all the way down to the hips, all the way up to the armpit. Let's do two more, so one more each side here. Now we're going to begin movement with breath. So inhale to center, exhale over to the right. Complete the exhale, inhale to center, exhale over to the left. Inhale to center, exhale to the right. Inhale to center, exhale to the left. Go four more at your own pace. So that might be you slow down. That might mean you speed up. It's whatever you need in this moment. Last round here. Inhale back to center. Hold center just for a moment here. And we're going to get our arms up over our heads, but we're going to work our way there slowly. So we're going to begin the same movement just with a raised elbow. So we're going to lean over to the right, raising the left elbow. Exhale completely. Inhale back to center. Over to the left with the right elbow. Now you'll find this intensifies the stretch just because of the weight of the arm is helping you get into a little bit deeper there. So as much as you're stretching the big C of the body, also be squeezing in nice and tight the small C to control how far you're stretching. So let's go four more with this simple movement. Inhale to center. Exhale to the side. Inhale to center. Last two. And then from here, we're going to go into a full arm extension overhead. So we're sweeping the arm all the way up and over, creating a small arc. Inhale to center, all the way over, as far as you can reach. Inhale to center. Let's go 4 more. And release back to center. From here, we're slowly going to work our way into some seated cats and cows. So now that our spine has stretched side to side, we're going to stretch it forward to back as well. So with an exhale, pull the belly in tight, tuck the chin, round the back. So the back is a big C, and the core is going to be your small C. So as you see in your cat pose, you're pushing away, holding it nice and tight here, stretching here. And then opposite, inhale, the little C is now the back, the big C is now the front. So as much as you're stretching the front, also be squeezing the back nice and tight. Exhale to release. Inhale to open back up. And just begin to flow through these at your own breath, at your own pace. Let's go for 4 more. And last cat pose, press away. And then release back into a neutral spine. We're gonna extend our legs out in front here and just warm up the toes. So just flexing the toes, you can do them together, you can do them one at a time. We're just warming up our feet now. So we'll begin with the toes. Maybe you reach your hands out and physically warm them up with the palm of your hand. Just give a slight massage, any sort of cracks that might come out. Stretch them nice and wide. Hold for our breath. Curl them under. Squeeze nice and tight. Inhale, open the toes up, nice and wide. Extend the pinky toes out to the side. Exhale, curl them in. And then we're just going to move into the ankles. So just stretching out the ankles, moving around, bringing the blood flow in. Maybe you do them together. And then once you've done forward and back a few times, go into some circles. Now I encourage you to try these circles as slow as you possibly can. And you'll notice that there's little shakes, that those muscles are just a little bit weak and that your ankles might shake a bit when you're moving them around. Try to stay calm. That can be a little frustrating. But try to stay calm and send peace and love to your ankles. Just stay patient with them as they also learn and grow. Just give your ankles a little massage here. The tops of the feet, warming them up. We're going to get into some good foot stretches later, which I'm really excited about. So from here, we're gonna slightly lean back and we're just gonna extend our right leg out long and bring the left knee in nice and tight. We're just gonna extend and lift up the left knee here, just warming it up, bringing some fluid movement in, just kind of like getting any creaks that might be held out. And that's also warming up the hip here. Let's go for 2 more. And then what we're gonna do here is switch our feet so the left leg is out long, bringing the right in nice and tight, and then extending and contracting. Just warming up the knees here. Let's go for about 2 more here. All right, and then bring both the feet in just slightly. You're gonna rock back onto the elbows or onto the back here. And we're gonna go for some yogi bicycles to warm up the core and the hips. So we're gonna go for 16. If you make it to 8, that's great. If you make it to 2, just stick with your breath and try to stay moving. So hug the left knee in, extend the right leg out. You can bring the right hand to the inside of the left foot and exhale completely. Inhale to switch, exhale completely. Inhale to switch, exhale completely. Try to slow it down, nice and slow, like you're moving through butter. Let's go for 10 more. So I encourage you to open your toes nice and wide, and I want you to slowly extend the foot out like you're sticking it through Jell-O, and you feel all the Jell-O coming between the toes. So nice and slow. Five more. Last 2, you can do it. Go ahead and hug the knees in. Give your back a little massage here. Whew. Hopefully you're feeling a little warmed up. Your core is nice and activated. And go ahead and rock back up into a sitting position. So hopefully that felt pretty good. Your core is a little bit burning. Maybe you have a little bit of sweat going on. These are all great things to bring into a yoga practice. Any sort of heat, I encourage you to send to areas that might not be as flexible. So if you build a lot of heat in your belly from doing core, with each exhale, just visualize that going to other areas of your body that might be a little tight. So we're gonna rock again back onto the hands slightly, and we're just gonna go through some pelvic tilts. So curling the hips under like in cat pose, where the chin is tucked, and then opening up, letting the hips rock forward into a cow. Exhale, curl. Inhale, open. And mostly focusing here on the pelvis. We want the pelvis to tilt with each of these. Just opening up the lower back, allowing any kinks to get out of the pelvis. I know we sit a lot, so moving that around intentionally can create a lot of room for healing. Let's go through 4 more at your own pace. And last one. notice. We're gonna swing the knees around, take your time getting here. We're just making our way into a tabletop position. We're gonna move through some cats and cows. Now you'll notice that the gravity is gonna be a little bit different here. So these are the first cats and cows where the gravity is all on your back. So dropping into your cow pose is gonna be a little bit easier. Pushing into your cat pose is gonna feel a bit harder here. So play around. Try to go through 8 at your own slow pace with your breath. Opening to cow with an inhale. Exhale, tucking the tailbone, rounding the back, curling the chin into cat pose. Go through about 4 more at your own pace here. Maybe find a little bit of movement forward and back with the pose. Beautiful. And go ahead and release. Coming back to a neutral spine here, we're going to go into those side bends that we started the practice with. So I'm just warming up my wrists here. So if you guys also want to go ahead and just do any sort of wrist stretch, I usually just flip one at a time to get a good stretch across the top of my hand, and then find any sort of like movement around that. Yeah, my boyfriend asked me to move a couch for him this weekend. Don't know why he picked me of all people to try to move a couch, but needless to say, it was a little bit tough on the wrists. So I'm taking extra care, so if you see me giving a little bit extra to my wrists, that's what that's all about. Alright, so we're going into those side bends that we started the class with, except you'll notice we're in a bit of a different pose here. So we were seated first. Here we're in tabletop. Same concept. We're going to take our gaze over our left shoulder, and I want you to feel like your hip is coming up towards your eyes. So the left side of your body is going to become the small C. The right side of your body is nice and open. That's where your big C is. 4 deep breaths here. On your inhale, coming back to center, we're moving over to the right side. So the right side of your body is going to become this small C that's squeezing in, and the left side of your body opens up, becoming the big C. Inhale back to center. Shake it out. Feel free to move it around. Do some movement here with the spine, kind of like a jump rope. Any sort of movement that feels right. We are going to go into our first downward facing dog of the day. So I encourage you to get there however you like. If that's through tabletop, curling the toes, up and under. You can also walk through plank and then back. It's however you prefer. Go ahead and hold your first downward facing dog for about 3 good breaths, and then we're going to go through some spinal rolls. So all together, let's take a big inhale. Exhale completely. Inhale up onto the toes, nice and high. Create that cat back. Curl forward. Press into the mat nice and hard. Round the back. Big C on the back, little C in the front. Curl, tuck, tuck, tuck. And then exhale, release. Drop the heels. Walk it out. Inhale up onto the toes. Exhale, small C in the front, big C in the back. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Hold. Exhale, release. Walk it out, drop the heels. One more time. Inhale up onto the toes. Curl the back. Small C in the core. Hold, hold, hold. Exhale, release. Go ahead and take the knees wide and press back into child's pose. All right, go ahead and hold your child's pose here for just a moment. And I want to remind you that this is your safe place. Child's pose is your resting pose that you can return to at any point throughout the practice. If you ever feel overwhelmed, if you ever feel like you can't catch your breath, this is the place to come to return to the breath. So when your head is turned inwards towards the heart, your face is down towards the mat, you can hear your breath, and it is a reminder to slow down, to take a deep breath, and to not go into any pose that makes you lose your breath. One more big inhale here, and then we're coming back up into downward facing dog. So go ahead and meet me in downward dog when you're ready. We're gonna inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, open up the hip by dropping the leg over to the right. Now the little C is on the left side of the body, and the big C is here on the right side. Right side's open. See if you can take your gaze over and see if you can see the toes on your foot. Exhale, release. Walk it out in your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg, and same thing on this side. Open the hip, bend the knee. Big C on the left side of the body, little C on the right. See if you can take your eyes to the right and see if you can look at your toes. Exhale, release. Walk it out. Take the knees wide one more time and find your child's pose. On the next inhale, rise one more time. We're coming back into downward facing dog. So feel free to walk it out here. Find any sort of movement. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the small C and the big C again here. So we're gonna drop the ankles over to the right, put a bend in the right knee, and same concept here. The right side of the body is tugged nice and tight, small C. Left side of the body is open. And then we're just gonna switch, dropping the heels over to the right. Bend knee in the front left leg. And then creating a small C on the left, big C on the right. And then just move back and forth between these two. Take one more inhale. Exhale, completely drop the knees and come into child's pose. Go ahead and press up onto your knees here. Take the arms behind you, interlace the fingers, and stretch the heart open. And then you can release the arms to the side, shake them out. We're gonna go through a couple more down dog movements, and then we'll be up in a lunge. So I want you to really focus on your form here in your downward facing dog. So you want the hands to be about shoulder length apart, stacked underneath the shoulders. I like to come through plank with the downward facing dog, so in your high plank. And then pressing the hips up and back, dig the fingertips into the mat so you create claws with the hands. You want the forearms rotating in, elbows nice and tight towards one another. So not letting the elbows splay out, keeping them in nice and tight. Shoulder blades down your back. Exhale completely. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, just like we did earlier with the spinal roll, press forward into your high plank, curl the back into a cat back, bring the knee in and hold. 3, 2, 1, inhale back. Exhale, bring it in one more time. Bring the knee into the right elbow and hold. 2, 1. Inhale back. Last one, you can do it. Exhale, bring the knee in. Bring it across the body to the left elbow and hold. 2, 1, and release. Walk your dog out. Inhale, lift the leg one more time, the right leg. Exhale, step it through the hands this time. We're going to bring the back knee down into a half lunge. And we're going to slowly walk the hands back as we straighten the front knee into a half split. Now there's something I want you to focus on here, and that's your hips. You want your hips to be in line with the back of the mat. So you can look at the front of the mat to get a good idea. And you want both of your hips, both left and right, sending back towards the back of the mat, in line with one another. We're going to take a few breaths here. So go through about 4 more deep breaths. With each inhale, I want you to think about lengthening the spine up and forward. And with each exhale, I want you to think about folding in towards that knee. We're just really stretching out the hamstring of the right leg here. So if you can, and you can balance it, you can give a slight little massage here just to remind that muscle to relax. It can be a little bit unbalancing, so make sure you're moving nice and slow, but you're sending love and warmth to that tight area of the body. Let's take one more breath here. We're going to slowly walk our hands forward, coming back into our low half lunge here, and we're going to hold here for a few breaths to open up the left hip flexor right here. So same concept. With each inhale, think about lengthening. With each exhale, think about melting and softening. We still want our hips in line towards the back of the mat. So think about the right hip coming back. Think about the left hip keeping line, so not going back too far without the right hip. Let's take about 4 more deep breaths here. And go ahead and release. And then just slowly bring the right foot out and around. Come back to your tabletop position and just rock the hips left and right. Take one more full round of breath here before we find our downward facing dog again. Take an inhale, and then on the exhale, go ahead and find your downward facing dog. On your inhale, let the left leg float. Exhale, round the back. Come forward into your high plank with your left leg lifted. And then tuck the knee up and in, keeping the back grounded, and hold. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release. Bring it in one more time. Hold. Exhale, nice and tight. Bring it to the left elbow. 2, 1. Release. And final time here. Bring it in nice and tight. Round the back. Cross body. Right elbow. 3, 2, 1. Release. And then this time, stepping it through. Finding that good foot positioning here before we drop down into our half lunge. Slowly walk the hands back as we come into our first half split on the other side. So again, with each inhale, thinking about lengthening. With each exhale, thinking about folding. Both of the hips are going towards the back of the mat. So drawing the left hip back and trying to keep the right hip in line with the left. Inhale completely. Exhale, let it go. Inhale. Exhale, send love to the back of the hamstring of the left leg. Send any sort of warmth there, compassion, kindness. Exhale, let go of any tension, of any fear. Let's take 3 more good breaths here. Try to just return to a calm state of mind, even in what might seem like a very uncomfortable position. Can you still find peace? Can you find comfort? And last breath. Exhale completely, slowly bring a bend back into that knee as we walk forward. Open up the right hip flexor. And same thing here, we're just bringing patience, kindness, positivity. We're just filling our body with these beautiful reactions to what might seem like a very stressful pose. Can you change the way that you react to your body being put in a difficult situation? Can you approach it with a calm attitude and to try to find the beauty in it? The breath is a powerful tool that can help you release any sort of unnecessary tension. Let's go for 3 more good breaths. And last one. Slightly lean back, bring the left out and around. And then from tabletop here, you have the option to either push into downward facing dog for these next moves. I'm gonna give my wrists a break just because of what I did yesterday moving that couch. It sort of irritated my wrists. So I'm not gonna push it super hard today, but if you have the extra energy and you're feeling it, this is something you can do from downward facing dog. We're going to lift the right leg first and just start with some small hip circles. So just try to do 5 one direction and then switch and go the opposite way. And then tuck that knee in and switch to the other side. And switch direction. Alright, and release. Here's that foot stretch that I promised you guys, okay? So we're tucking the toes, just like this, and we're gonna just lean back slowly, 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 keeping the toes tucked, working our way into a seated position. So we're stretching the feet here with the toes tucked under, and we're just gonna try to breathe through it. Let's do 5 good breaths and then we'll add some movement. And if at any point you need to just gather yourself, reposition the feet, or just take a small break, you're more than welcome to. This is all a suggestion. Just real stretch the bottom of the feet. I want you to just go there in your mind and just release any tension that your feet are holding on to. From here, we're going to add some movement. So on the exhale, drop the right hand to the right. Inhale the left up and over. Exhale completely. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. So those side bends that we were doing earlier, coming back in. Opening up the side body here. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right. If you can do 4 more, go for it. Just making sure we get really into all edges of those feet. Last 2. And 1. Exhale, go ahead and release. Walk forward. We're just going to take our feet and just slam them on the mat. So just get all the blood flow to that top of the feet there. Feels really good. Just release that tension. And we are gonna go ahead and get set up here for pigeon pose. So our hips are nice and open, we should be ready for it. This can be a bit of an intense pose, so go carefully into this. Go with patience, go with calmness into this pose. Just try it out. I want you to be aware of your knees. Your knees should not be in pain. Don't put any extra pressure on your knees. And if at any point my direction is too much for you, or you are unsure or not feeling comfortable, then the suggestion I'm going to give you is this. And then I'm going to walk the rest of the class through a pigeon pose on your stomach. This is a pigeon pose on your back. So this takes the pressure off of your knees. It's still going to be a slight bit of pressure, so definitely pay attention. You want to find your edge, but you're more than welcome to do it reversed. So you're going to be on your back. You're going to take your right leg up, cross it over the left so that you create a 4, like a figure 4 right here. You want the knee to be moving out, and you can take your hand and slightly press out. Now you're more than welcome to stay right here if this is enough for you. If you feel like you can go for a deeper stretch, go ahead and just grab the leg here and pull towards yourself while keeping this outer knee over here going out. So you can pull and push at the same time. You're gonna find that stretch here, and you're gonna find that stretch right here in the front of the hip. So experiment with that. And then if you want to go into a regular pigeon pose, I'm going to walk you through here. So we're going to come from downward facing dog into pigeon. So go ahead and set up into downward facing dog. This is especially important if you have sciatica, if you've got any sort of knee injury or arthritis. I would definitely try it on your back first before going directly into it on your stomach. So what you're gonna do from downward facing dog, and you might feel your feet a little stretched out, like, whoa, that feels good. We're gonna lift the right leg up nice and high. Exhale, bring it in towards the body, right knee to right elbow. And then you're gonna turn the shin so that it's semi-parallel to the front of the mat. I say semi-parallel because not everyone is going to be able to get their shin parallel to the front of the mat. Mine does not go front to parallel to the mat. So do your best and drop the back leg, and then you'll notice how I'm just slightly inching the back leg backwards, just slightly. So from here, before we go down, I want to talk you through a few key points just because I'm not in the room with y'all. So with pigeon, you want the front leg squeezing in and up. You want the back leg squeezing in and up. Both legs are a strong foundation for you. So it's not all about giving and just falling into this pose. There is quite a bit of strength involved. You want to try to keep this front foot flexed to protect the knee. And again, if you feel any sort of pressure or any pain in this front knee, go ahead and back out and just go on your back. So this is your first pigeon. We're going to go into pigeon prep. So just slowly walking our hands forward. Any way along the road is right for you. So if you stop on the forearms, that's a great stopping point. Even if you stay up. I like to stay up some days because it helps me get that back leg down. We want to think about this, the hips being nice and squared, just like we were earlier in our half split. So think about the right hip pulling back towards the back of the mat, and the left hip not going back too far without the right. So the hips are nice in line. You're going to feel that stretch on the front of the right leg, so you're going to feel it on the hamstring. Underneath there is going to feel real intense. Just try to breathe and bring some patience and some comfort there. if you can, just take a glance at your back leg. Now you want the back leg to be nice in line with the body, not sticking out. You don't want the foot curved out. You want the foot nice in line. And just take a few inhales, squeezing the legs together, creating that sturdy foundation in pigeon. And then slowly, 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 walking yourself down. We're gonna go through 4 more deep breaths before we move on. So try to find patience, try to find calmness. Try to enjoy the stretch as much as possible. Try to think of a million different positive things about yourself that you can encourage yourself to make it through this tough time. We all need a cheerleader sometimes, and you have the most powerful cheerleader inside of yourself who can build yourself up to face challenges with grace. If you are just constantly reassuring yourself with positive affirmations, that you can do it, that you are capable, that you're strong. Any sort of positive affirmation you can find, go ahead and just let them come out. We're slowly going to begin to walk up and out of our pigeon pose. Just bring the feet in again, coming back into your tabletop. And then back up into downward facing dog. You can shake it out. Some people like to lift the leg and just give it a couple kicks. And just let the tension out. Walk it out. Move the hips around, do a couple hip waves. And then we're gonna set up for the left side here. So same deal. Again, if you're on your back, you're just gonna switch the legs. If we're moving through downward facing dog, we're gonna lift the left leg. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Bring the front of the shin parallel to the front of the mat, parallel-ish. However you can get it there, that's where you're going. Wiggle the back leg slightly back, and then just take a glance over your right shoulder. Just make sure your leg's in line. And now we're moving on to the hips. We're thinking about the left hip coming back towards the back of the mat. We're thinking about the right hip coming up, just being in line with the left hip. We don't need it to go back extra far if it's not in line. Big stretch in the hamstring of the left leg. Try to breathe into it. So come up first. We want to think of strength in the back leg. Strength. Strength in the front leg. Hold. And then slowly, slowly begin to walk down. Again, we don't want any pain in the front knee. This should feel comfortable. We want to keep that front foot flexed to protect the knee. We're breathing here. We're being positive and kind to ourselves in this struggle. Maybe slowly working our way down even closer to the earth. And just surrendering to this moment. And just allowing it to be, allowing ourselves to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. It takes great strength, but it will carry on to other aspects of your life when you face uncomfortable situations in the future and you've practiced yoga, you've practiced a mental strength through uncomfortable situations. You'll be able to use that through your life, not just in the physical practice, but also in your day-to-day. So how are you speaking to yourself through these uncomfortable times? Are you seeing the light at the end of the tunnel? Are you being positive? Can you change the way that you respond to an uncomfortable pose? Can you find comfort? Can you let go of any sort of tension, pain that you might be feeling and instead give into the beautiful sensations in the stretch, the goodness that's there. About 3 more breaths. Exhale completely. Slowly gonna begin to rise. Just bringing the back leg in, lifting yourself up, swinging that leg around, shaking it out. Go ahead and walk yourself through downward facing dog and shake it out. I'm gonna grab my computer charger really quick. All right. And so now I invite you to Shavasana. So we're gonna make our way onto our back. And I want you to know that you are welcome to any pose you want. Everything that I say is a suggestion, so if you're feeling there's an extra pose that you need right now or something that you need right now, go there. Listen to your body and then find your rest. So if there's something that you're holding on to that's just not sitting right, go there, release it so that you can have a beautiful rest. So I'm just gonna go into my little routine that I like to go into for Shavasana, which is just a slight back massage first. So rolling onto the back, doing a small lower back massage by rolling, switching directions. And then obviously my favorite of all time, Happy Baby. So that is gonna be going for the peace fingers, going for the big toe, and then just bringing the knees in towards the armpits and creating that 90-degree angle here. So a stretch along the hamstring. It's such a good stretch. Gravity is helping you do this stretch, so that's what makes it extra intense. And just playing around with loosening any tension that you might be holding on to in the back of the legs, the hips, the lower back. And then hugging the knees in nice and tight, and then releasing fully into your Shavasana. So you want the feet extended out, the hips tucked nice and under, nice and comfortable. Here's a little adjustment you can give yourself. You want your shoulder blades to be down your back. So if you can lift up onto the elbows, pull the shoulder blades down your back so that they're underneath the heart, like a little shelf. Then releasing, you'll realize that it opens your heart a lot more, opens your airway, helps you take a better breath. And then if you want to, you can just take the head and kind of do little head stretches, and then release down. Give yourself a little face massage. Just take your fingertips to the forehead very lightly. Just do little circles on the forehead. And then exhale completely. Release, let go, surrender, Shavasana. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Feel free to stay exactly where you are for the next couple minutes. Move